positive heads out there. Thanks for tuning your beautiful brainwaves into another episode of the Positive Head Podcast, where we are firmly convinced that creating success and happiness is rooted in understanding the ultimate nature of reality and the fact that as human beings, we are all immensely powerful fractals of the one and only source consciousness which creates and animates all things. After years of exploring this awe-inspiring truth on this podcast, I'm super excited to announce that we are now going even deeper down the rabbit hole on the new late-night style consciousness-elevating talk show called Optimistic, which features none other than you, the listeners. Optimistic is taped out of the epic, spaceship-esque 8-bedroom property we call the Mystic Manor that myself and the rest of the Optimistic crew now navigate reality from in Venice Beach, California. And you are invited to come experience a Mystic Manor immersion week with us. During your week-long stay, you'll enjoy unique workshops, chef-prepared meals, one-on-one time coaching and consulting with me, and even co-creating magic with me as a guest on both Optimistic and an episode of the Positive Head podcast. When I started this, my aim with these immersive retreats was to facilitate the ultimate spiritual upgrade and tune-up, so to speak, for our guests while providing them with one of the most memorable experiences of their lives. And I'm happy to say that as of this recording, every guest at the end of their trip so far has told me that they have had a profound and transformational experience at the Mystic Manor and that they definitely want to come back. All that being said, we only have a limited number of spots available between now and next July. And as of this recording, about half of those spots are already filled. So if there's any part of you that is screaming, yes, I want to come, I feel like I need to be there, go now and book a slot with me to discuss how we can put our heads together and make it happen at calendly.com/talkwithbrandon. I know for some people there is also that little voice in their head saying, why not? I can't get off work. I can't afford it, and on and on and on. But, really Henry Ford, I think, said it best. Whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right. And I'm confident that where there's a will, there's a way. And I'm personally committed to doing everything in my power, including discounts and payment plans, to get you here if it is something that truly feels like a huge yes for you energetically and like you're meant to be here. Once again, the link to book time to discuss with me is calendly.com/talkwithbrandon. That's spelled calendly.com/talkwithbrandon. All one word, of course. And book in some time and look forward to seeing you soon here at the Mystic Manor.
All right, all you positive heads, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am flying solo on this New Year's Eve/New Year's Day when you're probably listening to this. Happy New Year to you all. It's interesting. In the past, I really haven't gotten much into New Year's. I always felt like it was this arbitrary Gregorian calendar day, and I preferred to start my new beginnings on either my birthday or the solstice or the equinox. And this year just feels a little different. And maybe it's because we're ending a 9-year, a completion year, and we're starting off in a 0 year, a brand new decade, a year that we can start fresh, 2020, the year to see things more clearly. And so I thought it might be fun today. I've been playing around with the tarot a little bit, and I have been actually for probably, 15 years or so, but I pick it up and I put it down and I pick it up and I put it down. And so I've picked it up again recently, and I've been playing around over the last week or two with my family. And so I thought I would do a little 3-card spread for all of us and see what this whole new year is going to be about for all of us. So that was my intention when I pulled these cards, to get a good collective message for all of us. And I pulled a past, present, and future. The first card of the past was the 9 of Wands. And the Nine of Wands is a card of really holding on, stagnation, not wanting to move forward, fear of moving forward, not wanting to let go of all of the maybe even material things that we've accumulated, all of the things in our life that maybe we have created. And it's a fear of letting all of that go. So that was 2019, that holding on, that stagnation, this completion year. It's like we've done a lot and it's hard to let all that go. But the second card comes the Fool. The Fool is the 0 card, which is very interesting. We had a 9 to a 0. So 2019 into 2020, the Fool. I love the Fool. It's probably my favorite card in the deck. And I read it a little differently than a lot of others do. I see the Fool as a choice, as an opportunity, as a brand new opportunity. It could be a new adventure, a new way of looking at things. But this Fool has every opportunity available to it. Looking out over a cliff, a bird's eye view. You can choose anything you want. You can choose to see the light. You can choose to see the dark. The Fool always has this loyal companion with him, his faithful little puppy, man's best friend. Just like we always have our guidance, our higher self, our angels, Source, God itself, always with us along this journey. There are flowers at our feet, and we can look out and see things from a whole new perspective. And it's so beautiful. That's exactly what 2020 is all about. Seeing things in a whole new light, from a bigger perspective, more clearly. And the third card that I pulled was the Strength card. Here we see the courage and the strength of the lion, the courage to go within, the strength to be vulnerable. Because that courage, that strength, really is love, being able to see things with compassion and love and without fear. The woman in the Strength card is very graciously taming this lion, and she is not afraid, very, very calm, loving, and gentle. So this card is about being strong, not backing down from challenges, knowing that good triumphs over evil, that when we go within and understand that we are made of love, that is our greatest strength. And I think that all of these cards together tell a very beautiful story. So in this completion year, we've been holding on. We've been stagnated. We've been afraid of letting go. But in this new year, we have this beautiful opportunity to start new, to see a whole new year ahead of us and see the brand new adventures and opportunities that are awaiting for us, as long as we have the inner strength and the courage to know that it's okay to let things go. It's okay to get hurt. If I don't get hurt, then how am I ever going to know? I will always be okay. We have the strength to keep on moving because we are love. And so this year of 2020, we have the opportunity to see things more clearly, to see things in compassion and love. And you guys, here's what's great about this. These three cards when I pulled them. So I just spent the last week with my family. And I know I talked about that a little bit last week. And I talked about having to heal the relationship with my father. And, the first 3 days, everybody's getting along really, really well. And then the reality sets in. And we all start getting on each other's nerves a little bit. And I say we all, I mean, me and my dad, my brother or my dad, whatever it may be. Made me think about that meme, if you've ever seen it. If you think you're enlightened, spend a week with your family. Or if you think you're evolved, I forget which one it actually is. But either way, truth. Let me just tell you guys, I pretty much lost my shit this week. I thought for sure that I was going to be A-okay. This was going to be great. Everyone's going to be happy. And yeah, Not as easy as I thought. But what a wonderful lesson. And I want to talk a little bit about that today because I'm sure a lot of you went through the same type of thing, whether it was with a parent, a sibling, an aunt or uncle, a child. These times, these holiday times, and even when we don't spend a lot of time with our families and then we get back together with them, it can be pretty challenging. So throughout my life, my dad and I have always had let's call it a challenging relationship. He hasn't always been super awesome to me. I was never daddy's little girl. He never really picked me up and supported me and encouraged me. It was actually, in fact, the opposite. My dad's very bigoted. He's very chauvinistic. And so I grew up with a father who was always putting down women. The only time he ever praised a woman was because of her good looks or her nice body. And there was never any talk about a woman being smart, because I'm just not sure if he's able to give that recognition to women. He just, and when I think about it, his father was 20 times worse. So in my life, I've always remembered that. And I've said to myself, it's hard growing up like that. He didn't have a better role model, and he actually turned out a whole lot better. So I give him the kudos for being who he is today. He's actually come a long way, and I've had to work on a lot of forgiveness with him. And over the years, you think you do pretty good with that. And my dad and I talk on the phone, and I've even gone out to visit him for a few days, and everything's all good. And I know where I need to tread lightly with him. And so I typically do that. And I don't know what was going on with this time. And actually, also because of my mom's death about 15 years ago, this was right around the same time. So I have to look at this time and say, okay, this is also hard on him. So he was feeling a little extra himself. And so a lot of different things happen, conversations, disagreements, hurt feelings. And, I was pretty surprised at myself that I allowed myself to get upset about it. I have been doing this for so many years with him, and I know that he is not going to change. He is 70 years old. Anything that happens in this relationship that I care about is 100% up to me. So I had a few realizations. One, everybody has an opinion, right? Everybody. And many times when we are steadfast in our opinions, this is where we can get into arguments with people. Example, politics, religion. How many of your family arguments started over those things over the holidays? And not a single person who has strong beliefs wants somebody to come in and tell them otherwise, especially if it's a child to a parent. One like mine that isn't going to listen and doesn't want to hear it from someone who they think doesn't know anything because they're just a kid. I'm 40, almost 3 years old, and I'm still just a kid to my 70-year-old father. And that's okay, right? The other realization I had was, as much as I want to help him be more aware and understand the things in life that I do, that everything is energy, that where I put my attention and focus is where my reality is, I want him to understand this so badly, because his focus is on all of the terrible and awful things. Why? Because he watches the news all day long. And so all he hears is all of the terrible, awful things that happen. And that's what he wants to talk about. Hey, did you see that thing I saw on the news? How about that awful thing? Dad, I don't want to talk about that. I'd rather focus on all of the wonderful things that are happening. We're here spending time with our family. So when I even try to go there a little bit, it's an issue. Because he starts thinking, well, you're just ignorant and you don't want to know what's going on in the world. Just the opposite, Dad. I do know what's going on in the world. I choose to focus on those good things. So, you guys, it's so important with this that we choose to expend our energy in the ways that we choose to. So I can choose to not get into these conversations with my dad because and this is going to sound kind of mean, but it's true, in a level of awareness, I can't expect a kindergartner to do a calculus problem. I can't expect my dad to understand all of this metaphysical, energetic awareness business when he can barely understand that the news isn't quite the best thing for him energetically. Yeah? So instead of getting into these conversations, I avoid them. And I decided to do that this time because I did start getting into them. And what I tried to do was I tried to agree or at least say something that, it was, of course, a political conversation. My dad has very, very strong beliefs in his way of thinking. And I was saying something that was going to agree or at least not put down his beliefs. But he's so used to me thinking the other way that he can't see beyond that. And he can't even hear what I'm saying. He can't even hear that I'm about to agree with him. So why? Why do I even allow myself to get upset about that? Because his level of awareness isn't there. I can't expect him to behave any other way. But what I can do is put that responsibility all on me because I know better. And because I know better, that means I need to behave better. That means that I just need to say, it's okay. You can think what you think, and I don't need to change you. Because, when you look at it the other way around, instead of getting upset with him, because he got quite angry with me a few times, it's really, really sad to go through life that way. And because I can realize that and feel bad for him and have compassion for the fact that life is hard because you live it this way, because you're angry all the time, because you want to hold on to this anger or this grief. So I can look at that person with compassion and understanding and a gratitude as well, because, I realized wow. I turned to Brian at some point when my dad was saying something demeaning about women. And I said, can you believe I turned out the way I did considering? Kudos to me. Good job. After all of that, it could have totally gone the exact opposite way. I could have believed all of the put downs and all of the just anger. I could have believed all of the nastiness, all of the ugliness that I was taught in my life. Instead, I wound up doing the opposite. So I am super, super grateful that I was able to see this bigger picture and to be the bigger, stronger person. And it's hard to do when it's your parent, but that can be very frustrating when it's a parent and you have to be the bigger person. You just want them to be. They're the parent, right? Why can't they just act like it? Well, they don't have the capacity. They don't have the awareness that you do. And that is such a weight that just comes right off. They don't have the awareness. You can't expect them to do calculus while they're in kindergarten. And all you can do is have a little compassion, a lot of forgiveness, because you are not going to change them. You can just be proud of yourself for becoming the amazing person you are in spite of all of the challenges. And being grateful for the opportunities to take a good look at yourself and understand all these lessons. So I look at my dad and I think, what was I trying to learn coming into this life being your daughter? I obviously chose to choose a father who was bigoted and pessimistic and chauvinistic and all of those lovely things. So what did I learn? Well, one of the things I realized that I learned was I learned to put a bubble around myself to protect myself. As an empath, that came in really, really handy. I learned how energy works. I learned that if I could just protect myself, that all of that stuff that was happening outside of me didn't have to affect me. Didn't work as easy at home, but out in the world when I got older, it served me very, very well. And I think that there's also a negative side of that too, because it can create a bit of a separation. But sometimes we need a little protection for ourselves to be able to deal with this outside world when it feels like it's coming down on us. So it's a great protection mechanism. As long as you realize what you're doing, right? As long as you're not separating yourself too much. Now, I had this other realization quite recently, actually, and I know I've been doing this my whole life, but it's really come into my awareness a whole lot more recently. And that is that I have been playing small my whole life. I'm a very strong person, very strong-willed, and that's usually what people see when they look at me as a strong woman. And I am, at the same time, there is a lot of vulnerability within me, and I am very, very sensitive. And there is a part of me that has believed that programming that my father has done to me my whole life. Now, unconsciously, he didn't do it on purpose, and I know that. And I know that I have been unconsciously listening to this programming because I've been playing small like my whole life. So it's so crazy for me to look back and be like, why are you playing second fiddle? Why are you being the assistant doctor? Why are you when you're actually a leader? And so what I really learned in this last week, and I'm so grateful for my dad for doing what he did and getting angry with me and putting me down some more, because what I realized is that I am so over playing small. F that. All of you, we are so done with this. This is a new year. We're going to let all of our old baggage go, all of that shit that our parents programmed into us, all of these actually beautiful life lessons that we came here to learn. These are all opportunities. Help us understand how powerful we really are. And when we understand where all of our lessons come from and we're able to get a grasp on it, that's how we can let it go and release it. And forgive yourself. There's a lot of forgiveness that comes with forgiving yourself, not just the other person, because you're the one that allowed it. You're the one that allowed it to continue. You're the one that ignored it. You're the one that pushed it down. So you have to forgive yourself. You didn't mean to do it, just like that person didn't mean to do it to you. Just like Jesus said, forgive them, for they do not know. You didn't know, they didn't know. Forgiveness all around. We can break that karmic bond. We can understand our lessons. We can rise above them. I love that the card that I pulled, the last card, was strength. The strength card is exactly that. Having the compassion, no fear, rising above all the challenges with grace and confidence. And all of this reminds me of what Brené Brown talks about. And we talked about it in the Embracing Vulnerability show a few weeks back, but I'm going to remind you because it ties in so nicely. And what a great reminder. She talks about to be strong, to rise up strong, and stepping into your power means acknowledging your emotions instead of ignoring them, confronting those old stories of I'm not good enough, and telling yourself a new story, picking yourself up and engaging with the world differently. We decide. We have that choice. Like the Fool, it is a choice to start off with a whole new look, a whole new perspective, to tell a different story, to see the world differently. Because like Brené Brown says too, our capacity for wholeheartedness can never be greater than our willingness to be brokenhearted. So we can only love and be loved if we are willing to be hurt. So there's no reason to fear. We can let all of our fear go and have the strength of the lion, the courage in our hearts, tell the story of who we really are inside that greatest and grandest version of ourselves that our inner being knows we are. This year, that is what we are doing. We are stepping into our power and becoming our greatest version. So happy New Year, everyone. I'm going to leave you with a song today. This is Xavier Rudd, Lioness Eye. Until next time, love you all.
And if you're feeling the call to come for a week retreat-style Mystic Manor immersion, remember to go now and book your time to speak with me directly about stepping into the optimistic vortex at calendly.com/talkwithbrandon while there are still spots left. Otherwise, I look forward to co-creating magic with you at the Mystic Manor.